he asked me to feed his dogs. I was like, we're shooting a pod. He's like, oh, is this for school or is this with friends? Is this new? And I was like, I mean, I've been doing it with my friends for a while. Like, it's kind of a big deal. We get like 200, 300 views per pods. He goes, oh, that's amazing.
It's only inflating it by a little bit, so it's all right.
Because there's one pod with two.
Yeah, we got one pod technically with 200 and like three with 100. So.
Yeah.
Technically, if you take YouTube views and Spotify, everyone's over 100.
Yeah, true. What was the thing I was going to say about that? I was thinking, like, if someone ever gives you shit for using that in the gym, say you're doing a school project, and just immediately everyone...
I did that.
Seriously.
I literally, every time I walked up to someone, I was like, can I get you? It's for like a school vlog.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah.
That would be awesome.
What do we do if we're not in school?
Just lie.
Say we're in school?
Yeah, just say it's for a school project.
So you're getting the background for an adult film.
Oh my God.
This is for an adult film.
This is just to set the stage for an adult film that I'm shooting.
That would be fucking weird. A bunch of guys in it.
Funny as fuck, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 12 of the Utopiacast. I'm your host, Eric Hogan, here with my co-host, Michael Beaupere. Michael, say hello to the people.
Hello.
And we're joined by Mr. Elliot Vajnitsa himself. Elliot, how are you doing? Hit the tagline. What up?
Doing well. Yo. Yiggity. Yo.
We got a little Family Guy connotation there. Shout out Quagmire.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to talk about some cool things. Some things that are maybe a little bit, not necessarily close to home, but things that are individual to us. But before we get into it, let's talk about training. We're all kind of in different points of our successive training cycles that we've done after competition, because as we talked about on this podcast before, I did a meet, I guess, what was it, 2 weeks before you guys?
Was it? Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks before you guys, and obviously you guys did one 2 weeks after, so we're at different points in our training. So my heaviest week was last week, and you guys are just coming into your heaviest weeks. You got one more to go after this?
Yeah. We're in week 4 of 5.
4 or 5?
Yeah. Because week 1 was a deload.
Right, exactly. So we'll get to you two. I'll just very briefly, I had my heavy week last week. It was pretty good for me. I made a more concerted effort to be a little bit more aggressive with my programming post-meet than what I usually am. Usually I take about 8 weeks to ramp up to something that is heavy on all 3 lifts, and I figured I took the week. I really didn't take much time off at all. I was back in the gym that Monday, doing not a lot, but I was there. So I kind of, I guess it was realistically a 6-week cycle, but it was 5 weeks of actual planned out programming. I was able to hit, well, first of all, we got a new bar that we talked about.
Yeah.
The bar is good, but it's very aggressive knurl. I tore my calluses immediately on it.
I noticed that this week on deadlift, it didn't hurt nearly as bad.
No, the second time it felt better.
Yeah.
I pulled on it earlier this week and it felt better for me.
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
Well, you pull hook.
You pull hooks, it really doesn't make a difference.
I do both, and I notice that when I do hook, it doesn't hurt really at all.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You think it would hurt more?
Maybe if you're a new hook puller, I would think.
Yeah.
But since your thumbs are probably so conditioned to it, it really doesn't matter at this point.
No big deal.
But yeah, we got the new bar, so it was a big week. I think I went 415 for 5 on squat. Was it 5 or 4? It was for 4. 4?
I don't know.
It was for 5. It was 5.
Yeah.
It was 415 for 5. Damn. I can't even remember at this point. It was 415 for 5 earlier in the week.
Is that PR?
That was PR. That was PR 5 set. Went 505 for 2. Tore my hand completely open, but it's healed now. It's healed actually pretty good. I've got a nice hand care routine down these days ever since I did the...
You got me on that.
Yeah, ever since I tore it leading into that. I mean, I got a nice routine so I can fix it within a couple days now. So it's 505 for 2 beltless.
That's crazy. After a meet, I could not imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well, regardless.
ridiculous. It's like, what, 25 pounds under what you did?
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm really hoping, and I'm going back to belted singles pretty much immediately. So I'm hoping to hit something pretty good for me, at least in the next couple of weeks. And then on Saturday, we had a little supernova session from me, at least, because you guys still were ramping up.
Fun.
You guys are just ramping up and getting into it. But I hit 440 for 3. Which is a huge PR for me. That was 10-pound PR that I tied from the week before. And I honestly, that was the best squats I've felt this entire cycle. And I honestly probably could have done it for 5, which was insane.
Yeah, it moved very well.
It literally felt insane. Like, it felt weightless. And we've talked about this before. Squats never feel weightless when you weigh as much as we do.
Oh yeah, even all the time. 405 is just crushing.
Even when you're peaked.
Yeah.
So it was cool to finally experience that. And then I hit 275 for 2 on bench, which was really clean. It's awesome to be hitting that consistently these days. And then 340 for 7 on beltless stiff-legged deadlift, which is one of my favorite accessories. How are you guys doing?
Elliot?
I'm doing well, just leading up to things right now. It's like you said, week 4 of a 5-week block. So this week things have gotten pretty heavy. Nothing crazy on bench because we're kind of in that, I feel like, the recovery stage of bench.
Recovery stage, but also speak on what you've been doing with your grip.
Yeah, so I usually bench, or I guess I used to bench with my pinkies on the ring.
Which you have long arms.
I have long arms. I'm a long guy. It's pretty close for me. That's like where I remember I clowned Andrew because his close grip is like that.
Yep.
And so I've moved out to, I put the rings actually like in between my pointer and my middle finger.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm just getting the feel for that. And then also with the meat, obviously, I failed my second and third bench attempts. So kind of just taking it light right now. I think I hit 250 for 5 this week. It moved fine. It wasn't anything crazy. Like, I wasn't really hype or anything. Deadlifts is going well. On Wednesday, I hit 415 paused.
That was a nice pause, too.
It was a nice pause. It felt really good.
Yeah.
I had like zero hype going into it. Like, I just kind of walked up to it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for me, that actually makes me happier than like seeing the way the weight moved. Because I feel like usually I'm in my head about things.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if it gets above 400, I'm like, oh my God, like, get serious, you know? And then I just, you know, on Wednesday, I just walked up to it, picked it up.
Yeah.
It was cool, man. I think 405 is becoming the new 315.
There you go, man.
There you go.
That's what it's all about.
And then tomorrow, obviously, we have squats.
Yep, squats and heavy bench.
Relatively big tomorrow. Nothing crazy, but, you know, within, what is that, 90% of my max. So
of your max, yeah.
Maybe.
And it's getting pretty close to your 3-rep PR too as well.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, how about you?
Training's going pretty good. Bench has been feeling really good.
Now you also did something with your grip as well.
Yeah, I brought my grip out a little bit. So I was pinky on the ring like Elliot was. I went to kind of putting the ring between my pinky and my ring finger.
Okay.
So just a little bit.
Yeah, just a minor one.
Yeah, and it seems to have helped. I kind of like tweaked my shoulder a little bit on Saturday, so like hopefully this weekend goes okay.
Right, exactly. And we talked about that before because like, you know, you see people who take their grip and it's a fairly narrow grip and they think, okay, you know, you see the people with the really big arches who have their index finger on the ring and they bring it out to that immediately. And what's the first thing that happens? The pec goes.
Right.
Because it's not conditioned to that yet. Now, I don't necessarily think that you had like an injury that's going to set you back indefinitely, but that's something to expect when you're going to switch your grip. You know what I mean? Especially moving it from closer to wider. It's usually not the same moving it from wide
Going
to close.
in.
Yeah, exactly.
Going in isn't really going to do a whole lot. I guess you could maybe put a little bit of strain on your shoulder.
Yeah, a little bit on the front delt. Yeah, maybe a little bit more stretch on the tricep on the way down, but generally speaking, not.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little aching pain, but I don't know. It'll be okay.
Yeah, you'll be good.
Squat, last week I did 380. 80. Yeah, 380 for 3. I guess that's technically a PR we were saying.
Yeah, that's funny.
Because I haven't had a triple PR since 2018.
Right, yeah. Well, we'll be setting a triple PR the rest of the cycle, man.
Yeah, tomorrow's another PR, 395.
Yep.
Should move good.
Yep.
I hit 435 for 2 paused on deadlift.
Yeah.
And I'm trying something different with that too, pointing my toes a little bit further, a little bit more forward.
Yep.
Because I get a lot of adductor and like hip pain.
Right.
So gonna see if that helps. So far, I don't have any pain right now.
Yeah, and that's good. And then I don't know if you spoke on this yet. You've changed your grip a little bit on deadlift as well.
Hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, hook feels pretty good. It feels secure.
Right. Exactly. So. You are pulling your pretty much up to your top set hook, and then back downs are going to be mixed.
Yeah, everything.
Is that what you've been doing?
Everything is hooked. Even 135 is hooked.
Yep.
Up to my top set, and then I go mixed, and it's feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to lose that like grip strength for mixed. That's why.
That's true. And Ellie, you spoke on it before. Like, I remember one time maybe I'm remembering this exactly, but it was when you hurt your thumb, and I think you tried pulling mixed, and it just like wasn't it, and then you just kind of forced it.
Yeah.
Right, because you just couldn't get the feel for it.
No, I think it was. You're thinking of before my first meet.
Oh, well, you forgot chalk.
I forgot chalk.
That's what it is. Yeah,
And I couldn't hook.
Yeah, exactly. And you you pulled it mixed?
I pulled it mixed.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was whack.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I hate mixed.
Yeah, exactly. So, so you guys are changing some things right now. Could you speak on, I guess, why did you want to bring your grip out on bench? Obviously, you just kind of talked about why you did it before. I want you to talk more about why you're going to hook or why you're trying hook. So why are you bringing your grip out on bench?
Well, okay. So for me, when I warm up for bench, I take the bar for 24 reps.
You count that out?
Yeah. I do 8 ultra close, 8 regular, and then 8 wide.
Fairly standard, yeah.
Yeah, and when I was doing the week after the meet, I was just like warming up and I was taking it wide. I was like, hang on a minute. Like this feels like hella good. So just for reference, when I cut down for the meet, the thing that I noticed most about my bench when I got a lot weaker was that I just felt like less secure actually on the bench. Like my back didn't feel as big on the bench, and then my range of motion was just like all out of whack, whatever.
Right.
So fast forward to the week after the meet when I'm warming up with my fingers wider, my back just felt like huge on the bench.
Right.
Like my lats were like very nice. Like my traps, my lats were like dug into the bench. My range of motion felt short, just like it usually is. Mm-hmm. And just felt euphoric. So I was like, all right, let's just try this.
Right.
I know like the taller you are, the wider you're allowed to go. Well, no, everyone's allowed to go.
No, I know what you mean. I think I understand what you're trying to get at.
The wider you're recommended to go, I guess, or the general public would.
Right, exactly.
Man, you know what I'm trying to say.
You don't see a lot of people who are your height and bench as narrow as you were benching.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I guess a good thing to say is you rode that to the very end until it didn't work, and now you're exploring something else.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you just switch your grip willy-nilly just based upon how it feels like in any given session, you probably would never make no progress because something is always changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And honestly, like, it felt better, but I was weaker at first, if that makes sense. Like,
nope, exactly.
Like, things felt good,
yep.
But I could also tell that I wasn't able to put up as much weight as usual.
Absolutely.
But now that I'm nearing the end of this block, I feel
kind of more solidified.
Just like genuinely euphoric, bro.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm hyped for tomorrow.
And the way I usually like to think about it is like if you've done hundreds and probably for you up until this point thousands of reps with one stance, one grip, even if you switch to something that's like biomechanically more advantageous for your build, it's not going to feel great.
Yeah.
It might feel good, like you're saying, but it's not going to feel strong.
No,
you don't have any reps to support that. So, you talked about it and, we had the conversation and I definitely co-sign that. And I think it's going to bring your bench back. And as we say, the bitch is back.
The bitch is back.
Bitch is back. Michael, why are you exploring hook grip?
So if you've seen like what happened at the last meet,
mm-hmm.
I dropped my second deadlift because of grip. I think part of it is because I was on the smooth.
Right.
So I'm also bringing my mixed grip out a little bit to be more on the knurling.
Right.
But I think hook grip, if I can get it down, it'll be more secure.
More secure.
A lot of people like hook grip.
Yep.
And I feel like you can get a little bit more like lat engagement and stuff like that. You're not as imbalanced.
Certainly true, and it definitely benefits the sumo pole a little bit more than the conventional.
Yeah. It feels so good being sumo. If I was conventional, it wouldn't
necessarily matter.
I probably would just stay mixed grip because grip probably wouldn't be an issue because I wouldn't be on the smooth.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, and being mixed and sumo, your hand drags a lot on your thighs.
Yep.
And it actually cut my leg at the meet.
It did, yeah. It's pretty bad. You had to put, it wasn't like gushing blood, but it was like, you had to put.
It could have been like terrible.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't have been able to lift.
Right.
But yeah, it doesn't seem to drag as much with hook grip.
Right.
Feels really good.
Good. Ellie, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, like, for clarity, you've been pulling mixed fully on the smooth this whole time?
Since last August, I've been on the smooth.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
That's wild. I'm scared to even put more than like 2 fingers on the smooth.
I've never had an issue in the gym.
Right.
It's crazy.
I just can't do it at all. You know what I mean? If I grip anything, I honestly don't even think that I could do it. I could force myself to do it and like commit to it, but I don't think casually I could walk up to 315 and double overhand it. fully on the knurl.
Oh, I can't. Oh no, I can't double overhand.
Well, I'm saying like my grip strength is not that good.
Oh, mine's not either.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I can't even probably double overhand 275 for like a few reps.
Yeah, exactly. And I was gonna go on a rant on this. It is very hard in powerlifting when you have small hands.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Maybe it doesn't. Okay, it is hard to deadlift consistently and be strong at deadlifts if you have small hands. Maybe not. It doesn't really affect your squat. It doesn't really affect your bench press.
But it's definitely deadlift because like that's something that you have to think about. Where like Elliot probably doesn't even think about grip.
No, bro. I have small hands relative to my size.
Us?
No, put your hand up right now. For those listening, my hand is bigger.
His hand is like substantially bigger than Michael's.
Shit.
Me and Michael's hands are pretty much the
They're
same
like
size.
the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've been told I have smaller hands for my size, but I guess you're right.
Yeah,
but
imagine deadlifting.
But now
with these
imagine,
hands.
yeah,
No,
exactly.
You're right.
But the point I'm trying to make, I guess, is anytime you see like these grip tutorials on YouTube and whatever, it's always for people who already have larger hands so they can get away with that stuff. So like all the hook grip tips, like you want to dangle it in your hand and you want to get like these two fingers or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, this is like full grip for me when I try to do that. Yeah. And we talked why I went away from hook grip before. But yeah, I've just found that like and we talked about this before, a standard power bar is 29 millimeters, I believe, and in diameter that is. And I remember I would have no problem at all hook gripping a 28.5, which is like a standard commercial gym bar.
Right.
Could hold on to it for days, honestly, with any weight. And then just that half diameter difference, just, completely, I wouldn't be able to get the shoulders back. And yeah, it's just, it's an uphill battle. You know what I mean? And you see some people who can like really, really, like they can do mixed grip with their thumbs over, and they're doing 500. I follow a kid.
I saw that the other day.
Yeah, I follow a kid on Instagram currently. His name is Terrell Monroe. He's a 67.5 kilo lifter. He is deadlifting 500 pounds plus with his hands like this, and he's like our height, but his hands are huge.
Yeah, and it's just like in the tips of his fingers.
Exactly. And it's no thumbs, and it's almost as if like he's using his hands as straps, which is insane to me.
Almost like making his hand like a hook.
Exactly.
You know what I heard? I heard Russell Orhe does that too.
Russell Orhe
lower in his fingers.
So kind of, he does what's called the fingertip grip. So he has his full hand on the bar, not his full hand. He has his thumbs underneath, but he's gripping with like this part of his finger.
That's how I feel like I grip my mix.
Right.
I kind of set it more in like my fingers. I don't put it like in my like knuckles. Like,
right. Exactly. And there's two schools of thought, and I'm kind of looking at it myself, and the train of thought is the lower that you have it in your hand, the less likely it is to roll even further down, because if it's all the way up, the only place it can go is down. Right. You know what I mean? Where if it's down, obviously I guess the only place it can go is you drop it, but the likelihood of you coming to lock out and it rolling or something like that is less likely. But with hook grip, and that's the whole reason why you want to hook grip lower in your hand or whatnot. Yeah. All right, so we were talking earlier today on what we kind of wanted to talk about, I guess, for the main, topic for today, and we went back and forth with a couple of different things, and we decided to kind of settle in on something that is individual to everyone. Now, you may relate to the things that we talk about because they're not new things. But that's things that we personally struggle with in training for powerlifting, maybe just training in general, and then competition, because we're not perfect. Anyone who tuned in to episode, I believe 10, where we talked about our competition history, was that episode 10?
Yeah.
Knows that we're not perfect, and we make mistakes, and we continue to make mistakes, and that's just a normal thing about being human. Yeah, would you guys like to start off on things that you personally struggle with, or if you can't think of anything that you currently struggle with, things that you did in the past and what kind of got you out of that mental struggle?
So I guess you would say like mentally, I've always kind of like compared myself to other people, like, and sometimes like people that are like basically out of reach.
Right.
Like I compare myself to like the top like 3 guys like right now, and it's like, okay, these guys are doing, like 1,500 pounds and I'm doing 1,200 pounds.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like, I guess you could say that's a good and bad thing, because in the past, it's almost made me want to stop, because it's like, I can never reach that.
That's very interesting.
But also, it kind of keeps you going. But like, the people that really keep me going are people that are like a little closer to me.
Yeah.
Like, I like to use you like to like try and catch you, but you just keep pulling away, and it's like I just want to like you motivate me a lot to like just keep going.
Yeah.
Because I know like these guys are just like way ahead of us.
Right.
But like you're like
I'm a little bit more attainable.
closer.
Yeah.
But you just keep getting better.
Yeah.
So it's like gonna make me better.
Yeah. I mean, and I like the point that you made about that, because there certainly is two schools of thought to look at it. It's like, one, of course, you need something. I hate how everyone says it's like it's just me versus everyone else. Like, let's be honest here. Like, again, as humans, you're naturally going to have a standard that you want to reach, and maybe that's someone, maybe that's a number or whatever. And I think you need that, you know what I mean, to just show you what's possible, because
Right.
you know they're humans like you, and they got to that point, so why can't you? But you also talked about the other point that I think is really prevalent, is people hit the realization that they're never going to get to that point, and then they quit.
Yeah.
And they frame their self-worth, I guess, on being top 3 in the nation, whatever. And the fact of the matter is 98% of people who get into this are not going to be top 3 in the nation.
Right. And I
but
think-
that's okay.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing. You know what I mean?
Part of that I think came from being so young and being at the top, and then like
You were at the top.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then taking a little bit of time off, and then it's like everybody just shot so far ahead that it's like out of reach.
Right. And I 100% get that. And I guess you've talked about that too, is like, you know, take time off if you need it for mental clarity. But, you know, the sport, unfortunately, it has no forgiveness for everyone. You know what I mean? It's like the minute you take some, I don't know, a year off, that's a year that you don't have to make up for, and you got to make up ground, and everyone else is going. And yeah, it's tough or whatnot. But
Like when I was competing before, me and you were like right together.
Yeah.
And then now you're like, I don't know, like 50 pounds ahead.
right. Well,
Which is-
but to make it clear, you caught right back up as soon as you got into it.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
Kind of like muscle memory.
Exactly.
So you can only do so much, but like if I didn't take that time off, where would I be?
Absolutely.
Would I be here? Would I be back? Or would I be further?
Exactly. And it's like, who can say? You
Right.
know what I mean?
It doesn't
Like,
really matter.
yeah, exactly. Because you can't change it.
Yeah.
But that's very interesting. Elliot.
Well, hold on. We're not done with this though.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Because
Love
you
to.
guys say that it's like it's discouraging to see people who you believe are just like way out of your achievement level.
Michael said that, not
I
me.
did.
Michael
Yeah.
said that, yeah. But how can you just like discount yourself like that? Like, let me put this into perspective. I'm a lifter, right?
Yes, you are.
I'm 19. There are people. I don't have to name names. Everyone knows there's teenagers. There's 16, 17, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds doing way better than I am
Right.
in the sport. Way less, much stronger, et cetera, et cetera. And yes, I can see how that's discouraging. But at the same time, as goofy as this sounds, like I never have doubted that I'm going to be at the top someday.
Right.
Even if I never will be. Even if, like, I'm not stupid. I know that there's like a very low probability that I will end up at the top. Or maybe not at the top, but you know, like you said, number 1, 2, 3,
Yes.
somewhere along those lines.
Yep.
But if I just accepted that, which I think is what you were trying to say, like it's okay to accept that, that's one route you can take. And I respect that. That's like kind of like the Nirvana route, you know, like just come to peace with it, enjoy the journey, enjoy what you can do for yourself. But at the same time, right, like if you always hold yourself like I must do it, like it's a little childish, it's a little immature, but that's how I think.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
And I love feeling like the odds are stacked against me. And I love feeling like you always say, we're on a mission that 95% of people would deem impossible.
Right.
It's sick.
Yeah, it is.
And, you know, like maybe I do have the odds stacked against me. I'm not that great yet. My levers are pretty shitty. But I genuinely think I'm going to make it to the top.
Right. Now, okay, I'm going to let you speak, but I think and I understand that you're not trying to come at him, but I think the point that he's trying to make is he's been at the top.
Yeah.
And I think it's tough. I'll let you speak on it because that's not my point. I'll let you speak.
Well, and I'm not like discouraged. Like I am not gonna quit. Like I'm not gonna stop powerlifting.
Yeah.
But like seeing those guys so far ahead makes it hard to like think it's possible because I know what it takes to get there.
Yeah. And I think the point I was trying to make is like you're at a point too where, and we've done the metrics where you're already at 97% your total's 97% stronger than anyone who's competed in this weight class. To get that extra 3% to get to the top, that's still a huge gap.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to get from 50% to like
to 90%.
Yeah,
exactly.
But to get from 95 to 99 is a lot.
And that's where being, I guess, realistic comes into play. And that's the whole point we're trying to make, because we're at a point now where it's like, within a year, we're not going to be number 1 and 2 in the open. You know what I mean? Like, that's not going to happen.
That's why we've said before, like, we're in it for like the long game. Like, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 10, like, but we may not, which is like definitely possible where we won't.
Exactly. And I think being secure, I think the point he's trying to make is being secure with the fact that that is okay and that you still made a ton of progress from A to Z is the point he's trying to make. I also understand your point, though, and I think you're trying to say don't unintentionally sell yourself short, when you could, because you don't know what could happen.
Yeah, because you'll never know until either you get there or, I guess realistically, if you want to stay like natty your whole life until you're like 35 or like whatever.
Well, we do plan on staying natty our whole life, so.
Exactly, but you know what I mean? You'll never know unless you either A, get there, or B, you're just, you're old and your test has dropped so much that like your total is down 100 pounds.
Yeah, and I get that, but again, there's a lot of things that come to play, and the one I really like to bring up is Eric Lapointe, Pizza Bloat.
Yeah.
If you follow him on Instagram, Odyssey Barbell, I've done all of his meets. He's also a really cool guy. He made a post where he has been doing nationals since 2015, so the year that you went, and he was still a junior at that point.
Right, so this was what, his 7th?
So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, didn't happen in 20, 21, 22, so 7th.
Yeah.
And in his 7th nationals, so he would place like 5th, 4th. I think he got up to 3rd, and then he kept going down, but his total was going up. Now, I might be saying this not exactly right, but his total kept going up, but his placings would be like 3rd through 5th.
Yeah.
And then this year, there were a couple people that didn't show up, and that doesn't necessarily mean that he got lucky, because if you watch it, it was actually a battle. He had to pull for the win in order to win that, and he won nationals in the 7th nationals. So again, if you stick with it, something good can happen.
Yeah.
But we're realistic in the sense of we would have to get pretty lucky, and that's probably the only way it happens, but that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? And that's not going to deter us from keep trying.
Yeah, right. Because we want to get there.
Yeah, exactly. And we've enjoyed getting to this point too. You know what I mean? So there's no point.
The time that I took off was like necessary, I feel, because like it let some like little aches and pains heal.
Yeah.
And like mentally, but like now that I'm back, like I have these aches and pains again, but I'm like, you know what? You just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be the best, like you need to just keep going.
And that's a mature approach, you know what I mean? So, and if you were younger with that approach, you probably would have burnt out and never gone back. You know what I mean?
Well, and it came when I was younger too. It just came so easy. Like I didn't have to try as hard to like be good.
Yeah.
And then now it's
we talked about what your training was before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You give that to like, 95% of people, they actually don't progress. They probably get worse. And you made a ton of progress off of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like right now, my training volume is super low and like I'm getting a little bit better, but we upped it a little bit and then like a little injury happens.
Right.
Like I need to take it easy.
Exactly. And that's your own, that's how you perform best. You know what I mean? And that's individual to you. But all right, Elliot, things that you struggle with, maybe it's in the gym, maybe it's in competition, whatever. Go ahead. Floor's yours.
Well, I feel like I've already talked about a lot of the stuff, like the psychological stuff that I deal with as far as comparing myself to others.
Yeah. So maybe, are you still dealing with that? Has it gotten better?
That's gotten much better. I think the biggest struggle now is something very surface level. You're going to clown me for this.
What is it?
I know for a fact you're going to clown me for this. It's eating.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about
So we talked about this before we started recording.
Yeah. There's never anything. There's never a point in time where like everything can just be perfect.
Right.
I mean, you want to be aesthetic and you want to be strong.
Okay. See, this is where I think my point was misunderstood. I don't necessarily care about being like diced to the bone, like Instagram model aesthetic, but just for some context for the people listening, before the podcast, I told them that my body weight has stayed roughly the same since like coming back up from the meet to now. So it's been about 4 weeks and my body weight has, it's gone up like 2 pounds.
That's not true.
Yes, it has.
You told me after the meet that you were like, you rebounded back up to like 200 something pounds and you're like, what, 203 you said?
Yeah, 203 right now. Yeah.
In all of training, you were like 210.
I know, but then I dieted down for the meet. Okay, this is besides the point.
And weighed in at 195.
It should be
195.
so easy.
I know it should be easy, but here's the thing. You guys, I think you guys thought that I was saying that I'm just scared of like losing my abs and getting fat, but in the end game,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily true. But what I'm scared of is just like in the past. See, this I think, Eric, you're gonna think is mature of me. In the past, coming off of the meats that I've dieted for, I just like eat like shit right off the jump.
Yeah.
And I gain weight, and it's not the best weight to gain.
Right.
It's just body fat. And so I would be fine if I gain that amount of weight back over the course of like the next 3 months or so.
Yeah.
But where I'm at right now, I really don't want to lose my abs yet. And that's like a very surface level way of quantifying this. But the point I'm trying to make is I'll be happy losing them. I'd be happy getting fat once I weigh like, 3 months from now, like 215 or something. But I think
Okay.
I'm trying to deter myself from taking the approach that I usually do, which is just pigging out.
Yes.
I'm trying to hold myself more accountable and kind of do things the right way this time.
Now, I guess I'm just going to put the coach hat on for right now, okay? Being objective with you, and I want to, and you can continue speaking on this because I think, again, this is something that other people deal with. This is not just you. There's a lot of people, especially people who are, for lack of a better term, lankier, I guess, individuals, filling out their frame. They don't want to get fat. You know what I mean? And I actually deal with a bunch of clients myself who I know if they allowed themselves to grow into the next weight class, their lifts would shoot up, but they're not comfortable body image wise doing that. And it's completely valid. You said that, not pigging out and, doing it, gorging yourself post meet is probably the best thing or whatever. And that's a more mature way. Yes. But I will also say the most mature way would be to track your calories, man.
No, I knew you were going to say that.
You know what I mean? Because you could have it so easy. You could eat pretty much what you want as long as it's within that macro allotment.
I know.
And it would just make your life a whole lot easier. I understand that it's an inconvenience to pull out your phone and track it, but if it becomes a habit, it will just be there.
It gets so easy if you make it a habit.
Exactly. If you trial it for 14 days, if you give yourself like, I need to track something for 14 days, I guarantee you after that, it will.
I did it for 8 weeks, and I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's neither here nor there. That's just me giving you a tip. And I think it will help that body image when you know that, okay, I'm doing everything to, like my calorie surplus is only, 200 calories more. And that should not create aggressive weight gain as 1,500 does. You know what I mean? So just something to think about. That being said, you have gotten much better with it. And I want to speak on something that maybe you could also speak on here. I feel like your mentality in terms of being comfortable with your technique, something that you definitely did struggle with and before, has improved a lot. Would you agree with that?
No, 100%, yeah.
Now, you still go through periods where you wish it would look different, but I think that you have embraced how you move, and I think your lifts have shown. Would you want to speak on that for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't actually even think that I wish my lifts would look different at this point.
Yeah.
Just because I kind of have been getting hype recently about the fact that maybe I am not built to be the best powerlifter,
But you're still strong.
And that's something that I have fought this whole time because, like, it sucks. Man, I'm gonna put this into an analogy, or maybe a metaphor is a better word for the people listening, right? Your parents let you buy Call of Duty Black Ops 2, right? And you're really stoked to play Origin Zombies, the map. Come to find out, that's a DLC.
Right.
And you need your parents' money to buy it, but they already bought you the game. They don't understand that they need to buy the DLC. So here you are. You're in the community. You own Black Ops 2. You can't play the map that you want, right? That feeling of like you started, but you'll never be able to get what you actually want, right? That feeling is just so devastating, right? And so when I started powerlifting and I kind of realized, wow, my form will never look like the best sumo puller. Wow, my squat is not as upright as like the best squat I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That feeling kind of manifested itself into my life.
Right.
Where it's like, okay, I'm in the game now, but I don't have the facilities to actually like go where I want to go, achieve what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
At this point in my life, though, I actually think that's cooler.
Yeah.
Because you're in the game.
Because I am in the game, and kind of going back to what I was saying earlier about this whole mindset thing about like believing that I will be at the top. Like I said, maybe it's childish, maybe it's not realistic that I will be, but not a day goes by where I don't see myself there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just gets me hype. I'm like, I'm going to be the kid that does that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be bent over as fuck on squat
Yep.
at nationals. I'm going to be pulling sumo with my back rounded.
Your
Literally
sumo honestly isn't that bad.
No, it's not that bad until the weight gets heavier.
I think your sumo form looks good.
I don't know.
And I think your squat form looks good.
No, it all looks good for the way I'm built. You guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's like, I kind of want to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
No, that sounds cringe. That's cringeworthy. I'm going to take that back. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be Wazzy.
Right. I know. I understand the point you're trying to make, though, and I guess what I really like about that mentality, and again, I'm not trying to talk you out of that. And as much as I talk about being realistic, or whatever, fuck what someone else says, regardless,
Exactly, yeah.
regardless of if it's positive advice or whatnot. Only when it becomes delusional, I think especially if you have a coach, that they should step in and say like, hey, if you do want these goals, you have to realize that for you and how you're built, it's just going to take a little extra work to get there. And if you're not willing to put in that work, then I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and we've had that conversation. Too.
Exactly. We've had that conversation a bunch of times, and you're like, hey, I'm willing to put in that work. I'm like, all right, fuck it. Let's do it then. But I guess it comes back to full circle. If you don't believe in what you're doing, how am I, like, as a coach, going to believe in you? If you don't think that you can get there, I can't tell you. I can tell you. But if you don't believe it, we're probably just spinning our wheels. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And then also for myself, like, if I don't believe it, I'm never going to actually be fully motivated to put in the effort.
Yeah.
And I guess that was the point that I was trying to make earlier when I kind of commented on what Michael was saying. Because I think I did misunderstand what you were saying.
Yeah.
And I think we're on the same page now. But I just wanted to say, like, maybe it isn't realistic that you'll end up at the top because of, like, that break you took or whatever. Or just speaking broadly about anyone. Like, maybe you don't think it's realistic. Maybe you're way behind everyone at your age. You're tall. You're not filling out your, like, frame well. Whatever it is, maybe it's not realistic, but it doesn't, like, there's no downside to believing in yourself unless, like you said, it becomes delusional.
Right.
And, if you become an asshole about it and you're like, oh, I'm going to be at the top, like, no matter what. Like, bro, shut up. But, like, if you're confident in yourself and you believe in yourself,
Yeah. And
nothing bad can come from that.
And I deal with this quite often myself. And we've talked about this before too. Yeah. I would much rather you be, I mean, of course you never want to be arrogant and a fucking asshole about things. Mm-hmm. I would rather you be self-confident to a fault than be non-confident and never believe in yourself to a fault. If I had to pick between two extremes, you know what I mean? Because I can tell you, okay, just dial it back in a little bit. But if I can't get you, it's very hard to get someone to believe in themselves if they don't already have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell somebody, like, okay, like, chill out a little bit, but you can't be like, come on, like, believe in yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Like, you got this.
Exactly. So it's like, and if we want to, take it a step further, it's much easier to have someone take 420 pounds on the bar and you're like, yeah, 420 is not there. Let's go 405 or whatever. It's so much easier to do that than to get someone the motivation who's scared to go under 4 plates to begin with because it's 4 plates.
You kind of did that, to me, like, leading up to that first meet. Like, you gave me the confidence, and it was hard for me to, like, actually trust you to be like, okay, I can do this.
Right.
But then these weights, they just blow up.
Right, exactly. And then that's the other thing. The more times, and that's the whole point to me, the more times you experience success in the gym, it's like a cascade effect for each of your training cycles. It's like, all right, I left 5 pounds in the tank this cycle. I'll probably go a little bit heavier next cycle, and a little bit heavier next cycle, and a little bit heavier. And the more success that you have, by the time you get to a meet, it's the easy part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think we've all experienced that. When we get to the meet, it's like, okay, I just got to go 5 kilos heavier than what I did last week. That easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I really like that this training cycle, my squat, I did only 5 pounds less than what I did at the meet. Mm-hmm. So I knew 440 was going to be there.
Right.
But, like, trying to go, like, 446 would have been, like, a little bit of a stretch.
The higher and higher you go, the less that scales.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, people that squat 500 pounds are probably going to hit 490 in the gym the week before.
Yeah. And I mean, and honestly, like Andrew Graves will probably squat, and I might be doing him a disservice here because he's catching fire real quick, but he'll probably squat anywhere between 535 and 546 this meet. His last single will probably be 525, and he will squat 10 kilos more in the meet. But that's a different person.
I've heard of some people doing more in training and then doing less at competitions because of weight cuts and stuff like that.
So there's a lot of people that can be prevented. I honestly think that for people like that, matching is better. I mean, it's not. There's two trains of thought, I guess, or three You could have the confidence to hit X weight and know that when you cut, it's not necessarily going to be there. So you can plan to go 5 kilos lighter.
Yeah.
Or you could plan to match, or you could do what we do. We try to PR on the platform. Is that always possible? No, we don't always do it. We take what's there on the day.
Yeah.
But you at least want to be in shape to hit your PRs, especially at a local meet. You might as well, because you pay all this money, you might as well put your PRs where they actually matter. You know what I mean? So that's neither here nor there.
I wanted to, I guess, kind of ask you a question about it.
Yeah.
About, like, for Elliot, like, if he were to want to gain weight super fast instead of take this slow approach,
Right.
would that be the better thing to do? Because, like, yeah, he'd be gaining fat, but, like, is that necessarily bad? Because he has so much weight to gain?
Yeah, so again, and I keep saying this, but there's really 2 ways to look at this. One is, no, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing because you would have the leverage to do
Right.
things pretty much right off the bat, and you would have all this extra cushion, recovery would probably be better. But I don't think you would be comfortable walking around at 220 pounds right now.
Yeah.
So it's like for any benefit it does for him physically, it equally takes away for him, maybe not mentally or emotionally. I'm struggling on the
What if
words
he didn't
here.
care at all about being fat?
All right, this is my opinion. Full disclosure right here.
Because I didn't care when I was 160.
Right, exactly. This is my opinion right here. You can do what you want. You can do what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And I will support that always. I will say, in general, it is 9 times out of 10, it's 10 times out of 10, unhealthy to be at a higher body fat level. Let's say if we're getting above 20% if we're a guy, and then I think it's like above 25%, 28% if you're a female. The more time we spend being higher than that, the less likely it is that we're going to have good health outcomes for everything else. I would like to avoid that. That's my personal opinion.
But your weights will go up.
Your weights will go up. So if that's all you care about, go ahead.
Here's the thing, though. Isn't it true that the leaner you are, the more efficiently your body builds muscle? Or is that just a myth
I think
that I've heard?
That's a myth. That's
Really?
that's certainly a myth.
The
But
leaner you are, the faster your metabolism is. Right.
there's I don't know, the research, you'd have to look into the research on that because a lot of that stuff's getting debunked these days.
Yeah.
What I will say is the leaner that you are, the less cushion you have in between your joints. So stereotypically, your recovery will be worse. So if you are absolutely peeled to the bone, shredded, you'll look really good. You probably won't perform as good as you possibly can. So let's say you're 4% body fat, which is extremely, extremely, not many people can do that naturally. Let's say you're 4%, you're trying to train that way, and I don't know, your squat's stalling out. By going up to 10% or 12%, and I think the ideal athletic body fat percentage is between like 12 and 16, you're going to perform better by that, just by virtue.
Yeah.
I am not a big fan of gaining weight super fast. Plus, if it were me, I would rather just prolong the surplus for as long as I can so I can enjoy the fulfillment of eating more consistently versus gorging myself for a 4-week period of time and then having to trail that off as you get hungry. Your appetite changes.
Someone like me too is like it. I have the ability to, like, if I just fully like pig out and eat exactly what I want, I have the ability to like weigh in much higher than 100 kilos.
Right.
And at that point, it's just the same shit over and over again. I'm just gonna have to diet down again.
And again, you've experienced this and you don't want to do that anymore. Yeah.
That sucks.
But
Yeah,
ultimately, if you could be a lean, like your weight class is 120. I mean 220.
Yeah, 220.
Yep.
Like if you could be like a lean 225 or 230, it is better to cut down.
I mean, that's ideally that's what we would want.
True, but I'm not gonna. That's not.
But it's
anytime soon.
that's not realistic because you're like 203. You said
203. Yeah, and I'm
So if
not
you're-
even like that lean right now.
right, and you're not going to put 17 pounds of lean mass on in a year.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I've probably put on like 20 pounds of lean mass in like this whole time.
The whole time, exactly. Right, exactly. I mean, if I had to take a guess, I probably in my entire training career, probably about the same. I probably put on about, and that's maybe like 25 pounds of lean mass since I started. But that is over the span of since I was 13, and I'm 25 now, so it's 12 years.
That's
Yeah.
also different for you. It's different on your frame.
Right.
You're shorter. You weigh less. It's different. It's less proportionate.
Right, exactly. All right, so I guess I'll talk about what I guess my insecurities are.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I've always dealt with, and this is not just in powerlifting, this is with almost everything that I've gone into, is a concept that I'm learning is called imposter syndrome. So essentially, and I have good days and bad days with it. It's essentially a lack of self-confidence, right? So, I when I first got into the game with powerlifting, whatever, I just like everyone else, I thought, hey, I'm pretty good at this, X, Y, and Z. And then like you, I saw the people who were at the highest end, and I'm like, you know what, I'm really not shit. I'm nothing. And I go through days where I look and I see people who look like me, who are built like me, maybe not some more now, but maybe like go 3 years ago. And I'm like, they're doing 300 pounds more than me on this lift. Why can't I do that? And then I guess to take that a step further, like professionally and whatnot, is like when I first started coaching people, even though I have a fucking 4-year degree, even though I've worked, I guess, with this point at 50 different people of various ages, various, demographics, everyone has made success that I've ever coached. I still don't think that I am that good of a coach. And that is like sincere. I think I'm good at certain aspects. I think there's certain things that I could get better at, which I'm actively trying to do. But I've never had a day that's gone by where I'm like, you know what? I'm really good at this. And I think people recognize that I'm really good at this. And people could tell me to my face that, hey, you did X, Y, and Z for me. You did this for me. Thank you for all that you do. And it's just a weird thing for me where it doesn't process. I'm not able to take that compliment and actually take it seriously. It's all like, oh, thank you. And it's like, you don't actually mean that. You know what I mean? And you guys even see it in the gym sometimes. It's like when I go weights that objectively should be there, I have to psych myself up and I have to have other people tell me that like, hey, this is there, because I'm just as afraid as the next person. And it helps me a lot having reassurance from other people because I don't have a coach. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's certainly what I'm most insecure about.
Yeah, I know what you mean by like trying to get yourself psyched up in the gym because like I kind of almost felt it for you like last week with like the 440 for 3.
Yeah.
Because like there was quite a bit of people in the gym.
Exactly.
And
how I am around. Yeah, I don't like being around people.
Everybody's watching, and it's like me and you are both very small guys. Yeah. And like you see 4 plates loaded up. It's like you don't expect one of us to be walking up to that.
Right.
But yeah, and like about the whole coaching thing, like I think you're just like very humble about it. You are a very good coach, but you also haven't been doing it like for, I don't know, like a decade.
Right.
So I think maybe 5-10 years from now that may change. You may be more confident.
Yeah.
You are very good.
Yeah. Well, and I wouldn't be doing it if I think I suck, you know what I mean? But it's just, I see what other people do. And this is so kind of funny to me. I end up telling my athletes things, and then like a famous coach will say it, and then everyone latches onto it. Yeah. And I'm like, I've been saying this to my people for fucking like a year, and now that I'm not going to name names because I actually like a lot of these people who say this stuff, post about it, and now everyone's doing it. You know what I mean? Like one of the biggest things I guess I've noticed is weighted dips. So I was having people run weighted dips a year ago, and I don't know if you've seen it.
It's becoming popular.
Yes, exactly. On Instagram, everyone's like, "Oh, the weighted dip! It's the next best bench accessory," and it's like, okay, since you have a following, that's why people believe you. But like when I say it, because I don't have the following, it's like, oh, shut up, we need more bench frequency. But that's neither here nor there. That has gotten better for me, but I don't think it'll ever leave me. You know what I mean? And I think that has to come with, the humble roots. You know what I mean? I was always taught to be humble. But when I talk about those two extremes of being self-confident to a fault, maybe not as self-confident to a fault, I definitely trend more towards the opposite side. I think objectively speaking, when I watch my thing back, I'm capable of a lot more than what I do. But just mentally, I can't get there, and I'll still work on it, and I'll probably get there at some point. But it just hasn't happened yet. You know what I mean? But that hasn't But my big point, that hasn't stopped me. I've been continuing making progress. You know what I mean? Right. So just forcing yourself and putting yourself in situations that you're uncomfortable, good things will happen eventually, and that's kind of what I fall back to.
When you do like the coaching, like I kind of like always wonder, like, do you ever think about like what other coaches do, like how they coach? Like, do they actually coach the way that you do?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know if you train all of us similar, but I know like the way you train me, like would another coach do the same kind of like schemes that you do?
Yeah, and yes and no. We're getting into, my personal opinions at this point, and I don't want to ever construe my opinions as fact, but what I've noticed is a lot of coaches are less hands-on than what I am.
Yeah.
So like they won't ask how you're feeling. They won't ask, if we need an adjustment or stuff like that. It's kind of like, here's your 4-week block. We'll check in once a week. That's it. You know what I mean? And they're able to handle a multitude of people because of that. Me, it's a little bit more hands-on. So it's like we got Ellie down there. Was she licking your leg?
She was like my hand.
Yeah, exactly. But with me, I guess the whole thing is I can't, in good faith, do that for people who invest into me. And I advertise that this is what I provide people. And when I don't hit that, it makes me feel like less of myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see a lot of people who are making more money, coaching more people, charging way more than I do. But their service isn't much. And again, they have the best athletes, and that makes them look a little bit better. And this is, again, not every coach does this, but it probably inflates how good some people are, X's and O's. But you don't necessarily have to be that good, X's and O's. In fact, I think that's where I'm the best at. Maybe not the best in the nation or anything like that, but that's where I think I'm really good at. I'm really good at that. I'm really good at meet day coaching. I think that's honestly my strength.
You are very good at it, because you have like, what did you have last meet? Like 7 or 8 people?
In total, it was 11.
But like for
the guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 6 or 7.
Yeah, that's a lot to be running back and forth, especially having like more than one person like back to back to back.
Absolutely. And I take pride in like my guys in anytime a Team Hogan lifter shows up, I take a lot of pride in that we're always prepared. Like so the things like providing people warm-ups, coaches don't do that. Providing people their attempts, coaches will say, you should open with X, Y, and Z. They don't have a plan A, or plan B, or plan C. I take pride in having everyone prepared for no matter what scenario. And then also everyone goes 7 for 9 at the worst, but most people go 8 for 9, 9 for 9. I personally take a lot of pride in that. But again, there's levels to this. You know what I mean?
I have a question for you.
What's up, man?
About you can comment on this as much as you're comfortable with, about the imposter syndrome thing. Do you ever get worried? Like, sometimes I imagine myself in your shoes, coaching all these people. And from what I see online, like Michael was saying, you're a great coach. Obviously, in my experience, you're a great coach too. And from what I can tell online, you're a great coach.
Yeah.
All of your clients seem to be making great progress.
Right.
But do you ever, like, first off, I guess the first part of the question is, do you have clients that like don't make progress? And then the second part of the question is, to what extent do you hold yourself accountable for that? Or do you get what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. I love this question. So yes, I've definitely had people who have gone through periods where they haven't made progress. But okay, I, to this point, have never worked with someone who has not progressed, at least bare bones, in some capacity. I've never had someone that's came to me and gotten substantially worse.
Yeah. Maybe
they didn't put 100 pounds on your total like both of you guys did, but they didn't get worse. And maybe it was only 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And maybe they left after that. To your second point, that's something that I struggled with a lot early on. I thought everything was my fault. Nowadays, I'm almost the exact opposite, whereas I feel more comfortable putting more accountability on the athlete, because I can only do so much writing numbers into a spreadsheet. If you're not doing all of the other things to make that program work for you, there's nothing that I can do about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I will say there are some times where, and again, this is where I'll take a lot of pride, I've messed up before, and I don't know if you got to read that article that I posted today.
I read it today,
yeah. Like with Michael, we were just doing too much, and it was beating up his elbows, and we're doing too much squatting with bench pressing. Good, we did that. The wrong thing would be to say, you know, Michael, you need to take care of your recovery or whatnot, because I know he does. So I'm like, okay, this is on me. So what I did was readjust things, and you were able to go pain-free and PR your bench press.
I also wouldn't say it's your fault, because me and you were texting like the other night, and I was like, I just wish that I could go hard, because I would.
Yeah, exactly.
And you are being a good coach by holding me back.
Right.
Because if I were on my own, I would just be going hard all the time and constantly being injured.
Getting injured, yeah.
That's reminiscent of, I think it was like the second block we ever ran together.
Right.
Right. And I was like, I like fell in love with the fact that like I thought my squat and deadlift were gonna skyrocket, and I saw this post on Instagram where it's like people love hammering their chest and tries with like volume, but always like stay away from leg volume. I was like, Eric, like please give me leg volume, like please. And so you gave me like just like so much leg volume, and then I hurt my hip.
Yep.
And it's like, I can imagine it's really hard when your client is like super stoked about it, and you guys both like, there's no reason for you to like be, I guess, skeptical.
Yeah.
And you guys are both eager too.
Right.
But you kind of have to learn that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the hard part though is a lot of people. So I've had over the last 4 years, I've had a lot of people that thankfully work with me long term. And when people commit to working with me long term, that's when we make the most progress.
Yeah.
Like, I guess technically speaking, we've been working together like roughly, we started like in 2018, but we've been well over a year at this point.
Yeah, at this point we've been like actually working together, but you knew me how I like to train before
that.
So you had all those years of experience with me.
And Elliot, we've been working together for a year now.
Yeah.
And then me and Andrew Graves have been working together for like close to 5 years now.
Yeah.
That makes it so much easier compared to when someone comes to you, expects to make all of this progress within 8 weeks, which is just, I'm sorry, for a lot of people, it's not possible to make substantial progress. It's okay to make progress, but you're not going to put 100 pounds in your total in 8 weeks. And then they leave because of that lack of progress. And it's hard. It's more so for the younger crowd. It's like, if I can drill into your head that if you stay with me for 6 months, then when you look back, like Logan Allaire is a really good example. I have a feeling he's going to be here for years and years and years. He does a really good job of it right now, and I've been able to kind of have him buy into it, and he trusts me completely, and he just executes the plan, and he's made a ton of progress because of that. He didn't necessarily blow up in the first block like maybe he thought he did or thought he would. But he's been able to sustain that, and that's really, really cool for me. But yes, it does get frustrating when people don't hold themselves accountable, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? Part of that is like not saying that this is like falls on you, because I think you do a good job of this. But part of that is like client selection, right?
It is.
Do you ever turn people down?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So like imagine if I was the type, like I was saying, when I hurt my hip after like 2 blocks of working with you or whatever, if I just like quit, I was like, oh, this guy like sucks.
Yes.
He blew my hip out. Like, what the hell? But
Yeah.
it was fine. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's another thing that you do a good job of is like you find like-minded individuals.
Yeah, and that's only came from being burned on the other end, because I've worked with people that certainly did not gel with me, and you just learn from it. Now there's another way to look at this though. You have to, if you want to unfortunately make a living, you have to have people that you work with. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying you need to shell yourself out and sell yourself out to work with someone that you don't like just for the money. But it is a good experience to work with someone that maybe you don't see eye to eye with. You don't hate each other, but maybe you don't see eye to eye with programming wise, and then that will help you for when one of your people, maybe not turns on you, but is like, we've been doing things like this for a while now. I see X person doing this a different way and they're making more progress. You're going to be able to actually speak to them on a personal level better than if you hadn't dealt with it before.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys saw that NGL story a couple weeks ago at this point. I've definitely dealt with people who are quote unquote bad clients, and it was not on me. It was 100% on them. And again, we won't need to get into that, but I've dealt with it.
This story was about you? Like, had to do with you?
What are you talking about?
I don't know what story you're talking about.
Oh, I'm talking about, I made a post on my Instagram story.
Yeah.
Someone asked me on one of those not gonna lie, like the anonymous post or whatever, if you've ever dealt with bad clients and like bad stories or whatever. And I was saying that I've been fortunate enough to work with like almost, I think like 99% of the people I've worked with have been awesome. And I've had people who left me on amicable terms, and it's all good. And then I've also had people who left me and it was like not violent, but it was not a good ending. And one of them in particular that was like very bad. And we can talk about that off air, but we probably already talked about it, but
yeah, I think
it's nothing we need to get into, but yeah, man, that's tough. It's tough. The other thing, I guess, since we're on this topic here is, I don't know, turning people away. I guess I'm at a point now where I'm a lot more selective as to when I first started. I think most coaches will say the opposite. I actually prefer working with people who are, and this is nothing against my older clients or whatever, I actually like to work with people who are more in your age demographic, Elliot, more so than the people who are like in their 30s. Again, not because I don't like it. I just prefer to work with, like, I want to get the youth involved faster. I want to get, so like, Anthony Allaire, who's 18, who didn't really have a background in lifting at all. I take a lot of pride in setting himself up with good technique. And let's say he does leave me within 6 months or so be it. He decides he wants to, he's going to have good technique for life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you have like that pride, like you were able to get him into it.
Exactly. And if he doesn't want to pursue it for strength, so be it. But he knows the next time he goes in the gym, I don't know, he takes a year off and he comes back, he's going to know how to deadlift. He's going to not hurt himself. And that is really important to me. And then plus, I like seeing kids experience success. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't have that. I didn't have that figure in the weight room growing up. And it would have been cool to have that. So I like being in kids' corner because sometimes kids also don't have people in their corner. And I like being that person. You know what I mean?
Also, I feel like the younger, like, not like kids, but like the like I guess you could say like 17 to like 22, 23.
Yeah.
They make a lot more progress quickly than like somebody like that's maybe 35.
Yeah.
Like it's just I don't know, like maybe a little bit more fun.
Yeah,
Because, like, you
exactly.
get to see them go up 200 pounds in a year. Where
Right.
You know what else is? I could be completely wrong about this because obviously I'm only in my like little circle, and I know about like you said, like I live with Logan a lot,
Right.
or Aiden, and we all think the same way.
Yeah.
So this is purely like anecdotal evidence, but I feel like a lot of the times. See, no, I'm scared to say this because I'm probably wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the times
I'll tell you
though,
if you're
like,
wrong.
The younger people are more like, so like again, like we were talking about earlier, where you're like it's much harder to get someone to believe in themselves than it is to like kind of cool someone off.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times the younger kids have like I keep saying, maybe it is childish, which makes sense because they're younger. But we have this like glimmer in our eyes where it's like we like genuinely think like we're all gonna make it, and it's like it's fun to be around.
Yeah.
It's sick and it's exciting, and it gets me more excited than just like I don't know.
Yeah.
Hanging around with you old heads. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I know what you mean though. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's more fun for me to like be around or something like that. 'Cause it's not like I hang around with like people your age all the time.
yeah.
But I understand the point you're trying to. It is cooler for me to have people who are really excited and enthusiastic, more so than people who are just doing this because they feel like they have to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel, and again, about the imposter syndrome, this is one thing I actually feel pretty confident in. I feel pretty good cooling people off at this point. You know what I mean? There is some people that I'll just never be able to get to. And that's the other thing, realizing that if you've done all of the things to address something with someone and they still don't listen to you, that's on them. They're paying for a service that they're not listening to. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
However, if you're making me look bad, then that's when we have a problem. You know what I mean? So this is why if I think someone's going to fucking bomb out at a meet because they can't handle the commands or something like that, I'm just not going to have them do the meet because again, it's a reflection on me.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you take a lot of pride in like having your lifters go at least 7 for 9.
The big thing is PRing their total.
Yeah.
It's been very rare that I've sent a lifter to meet and they did not PR their total. I think it's only happened twice, and I've sent probably 40 lifters to meets total, but 40 total lifters, but like 67 total meets.
Yep.
Yeah.
One more question I had about the whole coaching thing.
Yeah.
Have you coached anybody for like bodybuilding or like general fitness? And like, would you if you haven't?
Yeah. So yes, that's kind of how I got my start. I did more so like sports specific programming and like bodybuilding beforehand. So like when I was not charging any money for it. So that's where my background was. But I do have one person who's currently on the team or whatever, who's I guess he's not a power lifter. You guys probably seen Matty Grapples, Matt Copra. I can show you his Instagram after. He's a jiu-jitsu and combat athlete. So his programming is a lot different than all of yours. So right now, he deadlifts 7 days a week.
What?
Okay? He deadlifts 7 days a week, conventional. He benches twice a week, and he squats 4 days a week. Wow. He also has an Olympic weightlifting background. His goals are a lot different than you guys. He's not necessarily trying to build a single. He's trying to get his back stronger because he had a back injury before. He personally feels that more frequency, and this is another thing too, meeting people halfway, something that I actually do feel I'm pretty good with. If something's like absolutely batshit insane, like Elliot's, because like Elliot is built the way he's built, if he was just going to do a ton of leg volume, no matter what the movement is, let's say we did like 5 sets of 7 low bar back squat, you were going to be beat the fuck up no matter what the weight is.
Yeah.
Right? If Ellie came to me and said, hey, can we do more leg volume? I'd say yes, but if we're going to go 2 sets in week 1, it's going to be like 3 sets week 1, that type of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely do it. I don't think a lot of people pursue my services for that. And I do think I'm better off if your goal is strength training.
Yeah.
If your goal is to like get ready for a bodybuilding show, if that's what you're saying, I don't think I would be that good at that because I don't know much about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I actually have had one person reach out to me for that, and I actually had to send them away. I'm like, hey, unfortunately, I can't do this for free. What's Ellie doing? You take her down. Is she looking for something?
No, she's digging into this bed. Come here.
It's honest though.
No. We got Ellie on the pod here. We'll see how long she cooperates. But no, what I was saying is I had someone reach out to me and was like, hey, would you be interested in doing this for me? And I'm like, unfortunately, I would have to charge you for it because it takes a lot of, effort to curate a plan. And I wouldn't really feel that confident. So I can do this for you. I wouldn't feel that confident. So I don't think this is the best investment. You can do with that information what you will. And they decided to go elsewhere. And that's completely fine with me. I would rather be straight up with someone than lie to them and take their money.
Yeah.
Some people are not like that, though. You'll find.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I watched like some CBum videos.
Yeah.
And like when he was training for like the Mr. Olympia, like how they go about talking about how training is changing.
Yeah.
As like the Olympia gets closer.
Right.
Like I wouldn't even know how to go about
Legitimately
making yourself look better.
I would have no idea. Like I am good with like the power building approach.
Yeah,
I am
like
not
getting
good with
big and-
I'm not good with the straight bodybuilding approach. You know what I mean?
Because like how do you make those like definitions pop out better by changing reps?
Training. Yeah, I understand how to do it with nutrition, but I wouldn't even feel comfortable guiding someone nutrition through that.
Like you could get someone big by just being like, all right, go do this. Like
eat enough protein.
4 sets of 12. Like, and just continue to do that for months on
Right.
months, and you'll get bigger.
And watch your nutrition or whatever, and you'll probably make progress that way. But getting someone stage ready, diced lean, I'm sorry, that's someone else's job.
Yeah, you could easily send someone out there like super flat because like they didn't do enough volume.
And now it's your fault. You know what I mean?
Like making sure like no muscles are lagging.
Yeah.
Like just like the most like minute muscle in your back.
Right. Now,
You probably have to be like in the gym with them, like touching it and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Seriously.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Actually, somebody like poking your muscle can like help you activate it.
Yeah, mind muscle connection type deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too much. Yo, can we rewind? Can we rewind for a sec though?
Yeah, sure.
Just because we mentioned this in passing, but it's actually I'm intrigued by this. Going back to the Matty grapples.
Yep.
Deadlifting 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I am under the impression that deadlifting is the most taxing lift you can do for either your musculature or your central nervous system, or both.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Halfway correct.
Halfway correct.
Yep.
And so obviously I only deadlift.
Could I tell you why that usually is? It's
Yeah.
usually just because people can handle the most weight on that lift. It's not because the lift itself is inherently fatiguing.
Okay.
Pretty sure the research confirmed that as well.
Yeah. So you probably have him doing like lighter more often, right?
I can tell you exactly what he does. So, I mean, well, I don't have it in front of me, but I can tell you roughly.
Yeah.
He has 2 sessions that are straight sets of like 2 sets of 10 because he feels the more frequently he does the movement, the more, not only the more confident does he get, because he had a back injury, remember?
Yeah.
This is like 135 he's doing this 2 sets of 10 with. The more often he does the lift, the more confident he gets with his back being strong. Now, he will have an overloading volume set. We dose his volume through stiff-legged deadlifts because that addresses the spinal erectors directly. Then we have a day of straight sets where he works up to his tolerance for the day. So there's no progression with his deadlifts. He might, week 1 might be his heaviest of the cycle. He might have a setback week 2. He might go up a little bit, might only go up 5 pounds week 3, and then I don't know, then he'll go up 10 pounds in week 4. So his programming looks a lot like this,
Yeah.
or honestly like this, rather than ours, which pretty much looks like that.
Yeah, because you're not training him for powerlifting, right?
His goal is to get stronger.
Exactly.
His goal is not to express his movements through a 1 rep max squat, bench, deadlift.
Exactly.
But those are good movements to get him stronger.
Yeah. So this is my question, I guess, because just going off of, well, this might be completely debunked by now in the conversation, but obviously the reason that I wouldn't do that is because it would take away from my deadlift strength.
Right.
But like you said, strength isn't really a concern for, well, strengthening his muscles is, but not necessarily adding pounds to his 1 rep max.
Right.
But as far as fatigue is concerned, does that not have like a, by now we know that he doesn't go super heavy, but does that not have repercussions for his performance in like grappling?
Okay, so this is a caveat here, and I'm glad that you asked that. So he's doing no grappling right now because he's actually in the army. He's in Poland right now, the country of Poland. And
That's
yeah,
that's good shit.
yeah, he's in the country of Poland, and he has a military job there. And he pretty much has his military job, which is I believe, a desk style job. And he sleeps 8 to 9 hours a night, legitimately 8 to 9 hours, and eats as much as he wants through the dining hall. So his recovery, so if like your recovery sometimes is operating at 50%, his is operating at like 95 to 100% all the time. So we can do that.
That's emotional.
Yeah. So if your recovery, if you had a setup like that, we'd probably be able to get away with a lot more than what you're currently doing. But that's just not realistic for what your schedule is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But so as far as like grappling, like if you were to be grappling right now, would you keep that?
No, we definitely would not. Or if we did keep the same scheme, it would be drastically less volume.
Yeah.
And we have done it. We have done things where I've posted them before, but no, we've gone through periods where he's actually done all of his grappling stuff while training.
Yeah.
And kind of it's like with you guys, we've talked about this before, like when work is like really busy or school is really busy or when I was driving 2 hours back and forth, if you mentally just like kind of forget about all that stuff, you can take yourself pretty far and you will go a lot further than what you think your body can allow. But just inherently the work is going to be less. And when he has a competition, it's like we just take days completely out. But it's really fun. That type of stuff is really fun to me because he'll send me, or will, every like 8 weeks, we'll go on Instagram, like an Instagram video chat, and we'll go for an hour and we'll talk about what his goals are. You can find my thing over there, and I'll write down all of his goals. We'll have a conversation about it, and then I'll take that, what his thoughts are. I'll meet him halfway, and then we'll curate a plan. If we didn't have that conversation, there's no way I would have programmed 7 days a week deadlift for people.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess my like original question was just fatigue. When I think of fatigue, it's relating to like how strong I am on deadlift.
Yeah.
But fatigue through these movements can also manifest in other sports.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. It can. It can.
Yeah.
Right. If you're maxing out your deadlift like once a week, it's going to show itself in your grappling if you're going to be doing something like that. And plus you're training different energy systems, but I don't know how deep into exercise physiology we want to get at that point.
No, just a surface level.
Yeah, exactly. Because I could get into that, but I don't want to.
Yeah. Just
You know what I
for
mean?
the listeners at home, you know?
Exactly. Anything else? How about competition, just very briefly? Is there anything in competition that you guys struggle with?
I always want to be the best, and I don't like it when I'm not the best.
Right.
But I never am the best.
Do you think, Elliot, that maybe not so much now, but in the past, you sometimes wanted to attempt weights that objectively weren't there in terms of, I don't know.
No, I never wanted to attempt weights that weren't there, but like you're saying with imposter syndrome, if I'm not like at the top tier in the meet, I feel like I don't even belong there.
Okay.
And that's not like, obviously I'm getting better at that as I get stronger, as I get more mature. But at first that was hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Because if you're literally at a powerlifting meet, which is something that like you can be a powerlifter and not do a meet. And when you decide to do a meet, it's kind of like announcing yourself as like, okay, this is legit. Like, this is what I want to do. Maybe not as like a pro or like whatever, but like something that you want to put time and effort into. When you decide to do a meet and you're still like not very, I guess, like advanced.
Yeah.
You know, it can be discouraging.
It can be. And let's be real, it is very embarrassing to open a flight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if, like, say you're in a really strong flight, even if your weights are objectively strong, if you're the first one, it is embarrassing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a real thing. Michael, competition, is there anything that you find yourself dealing with? Maybe you used to deal with?
I sometimes deal with like I would show up to meets and like question whether I will win because that's a huge thing for me. Like, I guess like I kind of could sound bad, like that I want to always win.
Yeah.
And like it's not that I don't know. I just like winning.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
of course.
I
It's not
set
bad.
a high standard for myself.
Yeah.
But like I would kind of like almost psych myself out, like in like trying to figure out who is there, what they're capable of, and
Right.
then like figuring out throughout the meet. I don't do it so much now because we kind of know who's there, like with social media and all
Yeah,
that.
true.
And then just kind of like believing in myself. Like I do it better now, but like years ago, like believing that I could do like that meet that we did together in 2018, believing that I could do 402 that day.
Right.
I didn't have 402 selected as my first thing.
Right.
And then my dad was like, you really should do it. Like,
Right.
I think you got it. And then the person that was running the table was like, you should really do it.
Right.
But like trying to believe in myself that I actually am capable of doing it.
Right.
I've always kind of struggled with.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a real thing. And not to go on too many tangents, but the thing that you said about like winning and stuff like that, I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. And I honestly wish there was more precedent on winning meets I wish powerlifting was more of a sport at the local level. Because if we're going to be honest, maybe not necessarily us, actually definitely not us, because that's not how I view it. Most people will go to a powerlifting meet to max out, to send it, right? If you were to go to nationals or let's say regionals or something where like winning like is tangibly like a good thing, you're not just going to fucking send it. You're going to calculate your attempts.
Right. It's almost like a chess match.
Exactly. And I really wish we could bring that to the local level.
Well, you'd have to have more competition.
You would have to have more competition, and you would have to have a tangible reason to do that.
Yeah.
We're giving money and stuff like that. That helps, but like when you blow people out of the water, you don't have to worry about that.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's a good thing, and I really wish that some people could experience like, let's say we run into a scenario where, I don't know, Elliot's in the 100 kilo class in the teen division, and we need, 207.5 kilos to pull for the win, for a 2.5 kilo win to tie on body weight. Yeah. Or not 2.5 kilo win, to tie on body weight, and if he gets that, he wins. That would be something really cool to experience at that level.
Yeah.
But I think we're years away from that.
Yeah, because like back then when prizes weren't really a thing, it was just a medal. It's like, what are you going for? You're just going for like, oh, I beat you by 2.5 kilos.
And at the local level, let's be honest, that's pretty fucking lame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why like I always used to feel so like I want to win, but it's like, why do I want to win so bad?
Yeah.
Like I just don't want to lose.
Exactly.
Well, that's why a lot of the times like people cheer like for the last meet. People cheer more, I think, when like someone qualifies for nationals or something, because it's like it's more objectively impressive than just.
And it's a tangible example.
Exactly.
At the first meet, you won the lightweights, and like everyone went crazy for Josh Dang, who placed.
Nobody knew that I even won.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everyone went crazy for Josh Dang, who I believe he's either second or third.
He was second.
But that's right. You know what I mean? So stuff like that, for sure.
This meet was really cool, though, because I got the big
Yeah, exactly.
cheer.
And you won.
And I also
won. Yeah. I take pride because both of them were my guys, so.
It was so cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That meet was so
the
awesome.
same venue in the same situation.
Oh, listen, man.
If you come to Team Hogan, you're going to nationals.
That man. We're getting more and more people, and that's so sick to me.
You know what's gonna be so cool?
I'm gonna have a bunch of females make nationals this year too.
Really?
Yeah. Emily Grinnell, who won the entire meet.
Yeah.
She's Team Hogan now.
Is she going to nationals?
She was 210 kilos away from the nationals total in her first meet.
Oh, so she's gonna compete again, and then
she's gonna compete. She's going. Yes, absolutely.
Wow. What was I gonna say is it's gonna be really cool, like when the two of us are in the same weight class.
Yeah, man.
Like competing together. Like,
yeah, man.
Team Hogan.
Right.
Eric Hogan.
Little Memphis action.
Yeah.
Soon here.
It's gonna be cool when I see Andrew at nationals.
That's right.
That day is gonna come.
Yeah.
Andrew Graves.
Andrew Graves.
Andrew's working on his first Open Nationals qualifying total himself.
It could happen this meet.
Yep. In like 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So.
I'm trying to go to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You want to go?
Yeah, a little boys trip.
Yeah. It's not that far.
What you doing over there with your pec?
What'd you say?
What?
Kind of popping your pec right there.
Popped up.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. So I think that's a good place to end this conversation.
You want to talk about the camera?
Yeah, we can talk about it real quick.
What we're gonna be starting?
Oh yeah, absolutely. How about we save it for the very end?
Okay.
After shoutouts.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll end it right there. We'll go to shoutouts. For those of you rather, who are tuned in for the first time, shoutouts is a segment where we talk about anything we want, anything, anyone, any entity. Floor is yours, and the floor is yours only for that time period. Who would like to shout out something first?
I got something.
Elliot.
I'm gonna shout out Hannaford chicken tenders.
Wow.
Whoa.
Hannaford.
Hannaford chicken tenders.
Did you know that Hannaford is like not just a Maine thing? It's like a New Hampshire, Vermont. I don't know about Massachusetts.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? I thought it was just a Maine thing.
You know what though?
I didn't know what it was.
This could be completely wrong. Like I might be making this shit up so bad. So no one comment on this. I heard that the one in Saco is the busiest Hannaford location in existence.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Really?
I would believe that.
It kind of makes sense.
No, I would believe that. That is mob 24/7,
Yeah.
all day, every day.
But Biddeford and like other locations are too. But yeah, Saco's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything else, like the one in Scarborough.
I go there. It's not that bad.
Oh, really?
I go there
I'm not
on
a Hannaford
Sundays.
fan in general,
Whoa.
Where do you go?
Don't tell me Shaw's.
so I like Shaw's.
Oh,
I actually love Shaw's.
Why?
Because it's good shit. My favorite,
You're putting a sour taste in my mouth.
absolutely not. Shaw's is awesome. I love Walmart. Love Walmart.
I like Walmart.
Love Walmart. My favorite though, if I'm going strictly grocery shopping, is Market Basket.
That's so busy.
Love it, man.
Market Basket's
Why?
like way worse than Hannaford.
What about Market Basket do you love?
The selection, the experience.
Do they still do that shit where you get like free samples a lot? Or is that just in
That's
the,
like during the day when like, but yeah, they do that still.
Yeah, that's like Sam's Club. You ever go to Sam's Club?
And they have the fire sales too.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Sam's Club, but it's just like it's
You
so
don't do
far
your
out of the way.
groceries there.
What'd you say?
You don't do your groceries there.
Not usually.
That's more for like bevs.
Yeah, exactly.
And like snacks.
Michael, you have a shout out?
I want to shout out Sunday River.
Sunday River.
Yeah.
So why is that, Michael?
Well, it's my home mountain that I go to every year. I've been going there since I was 12.
Yeah.
We have a condo there, and the golfing there is sick.
Yeah.
Just like hitting the ball over the mountains.
Yep.
In the background instead of just like going to like Dutch Elm and like
I bet you be honest. Are you actually hitting that ball on the bounce, or are you shanking it off the tee?
a little bit of both. But it looks sick, like with like the background and like
Right.
it's just so cool and like it's so beautiful up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys ski?
You?
I've been twice.
Do you?
And I didn't ski, I snowboarded, so I guess that
We gotta
doesn't
have a
really count.
boys trip up to Sunday River.
Yeah, I'm staying in the lodge then. I'm not doing that. Sorry.
Yeah, we're playing billiards in the
Yeah, we'll play
You
billiards
guys are
in the
so
lodge.
lame.
Winter
Let's
is
go.
winter's
Why?
not
It's
my
not.
thing. I'm a summer child. I'm a Leo. I was born in August. The
All right,
summer
we'll go
is
up
my
there
time.
in the summer.
But I'm
What
not
are you doing
golfing.
in the
kid.
summer though? Oh,
You
golf,
go
yeah.
swimming.
I can't
in the-
swim really.
You would love it.
You can't swim. You're too dense for swimming. huh?
Exactly.
You would
Dude,
love
I'm
it
not
'cause
kidding.
it's outdoors, nature, dad
There's
shit,
like there's like dirt there.
dirt, rocks, water.
We'll bring shovels, bro.
Bro, not kidding you. I've noticed recently, just going back to what you said, like I can't swim as well.
Yeah.
Like I almost drowned in a pond this summer. Lake.
I have almost drowned in pools twice.
Seriously.
You
No,
can't
sorry.
swim?
I've almost drowned in a pool once. I've almost drowned in a lake twice.
Yeah. And you did you used to be able to swim?
When I was like really young, I actually enjoyed swimming and loved it.
Me too.
Yeah.
And now I just can't. Like I can't even float unless I'm like.
Yeah.
I get super fatigued really easily swimming.
Me too.
But
And I
can
get
you
out of
swim?
breath.
If I had to like
Yeah.
swim to shore, yes, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
For very long?
So we could go to Sunday River and you'd be fine.
I'll go in the hot tub if they have one.
Yeah, we got a hot tub.
Yeah.
Alright.
They'll be calling you Habibi.
They have been calling me that, but we don't need to get into that.
Yeah.
What am I gonna shout out this week? I got one. So I was telling these guys I ordered. So I love singlets. We've talked about this, and anyone who follows me on Instagram, I have like every singlet known to man from SBD. For the first time since 2017, when I was still Olympic weightlifting, I ordered a singlet that was not from SBD. It was from A7. I got the electric lemonade colorway, which is navy blue and yellow, which obviously is my favorite, and then an iced colorway, which is like a North Carolina Tar Heels baby blue or powder blue, I think they call it, and then navy blue as well. And I got the deadlift socks to match. So really excited about that.
How expensive were those?
Fucking matter.
What,
You mean like
curious,
compared to
compared to SBD? Like similar.
They are pretty similar, especially when you get the deadlift socks like as a kit.
Yeah.
But I'd have to look. That being said, one thing I do want to say, if any company sees this and would like me to model their singlets, or their meet day kits, I am 100% down. I will fly to the location. I only need a small fee. I know I can do it. I know like I have a good build for it. If you want your singlet modeled, let me know. It doesn't matter the fucking brand, unless Inzer. Unfortunately, I don't look good in an Inzer. The Inzer, I like to call it the scrotum cut. That's like right underneath your fucking ball sack. Inzer, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. But A7, SBD, Stoic.
I have no fucking idea.
Sponsor the pod.
And also sponsor the pod because we're good shit.
Yo, serious? If there's any pre-workout companies that need
Okay,
a,
so
yeah, now we're just doing this now. look, I'm willing to take up to 3 scoops per day. That's a lot of content. That's 3 videos a day.
Right.
If you think about it, that's a lot of content to put out to consumers.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
something that you guys will be seeing. So I don't know if anyone's able to notice. We got a new camera that we all invested in. It's a Sony
ZV-1.
ZV-1.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, still hard.
Pass the ZV-1.
You'll pass ZV-1. What you guys can be go get some shots. What you guys can be expecting from us is we're going to start recording our Saturday sessions that we've been having in the gym, and Elliot's been recording some of his sessions on it, and Elliot's getting into some editing as well. So what you're going to be seeing from us is some edits of those Saturday sessions, because not only are they hilarious, and we just want to share it with people because we have a great time doing it, but it's, we're powerlifters. It would be cool to showcase our lifts, and if anyone would like to watch, that'd be cool. But it's more so for us to kind of look back on and have some cool things to look at through our lifting journey. So you can expect that along with these pods.
Yeah, and you definitely won't be seeing any supplements that we take in those videos unless there's some commission involved.
Exactly. So unfortunately, we have to make some money.
To start putting some tape over our cans that we drink.
Exactly. Yeah. We have to make some money here.
You're gonna have to contact E-Right.
Exactly.
You either gotta finish it.
Yeah.
You gotta keep it out of the shot.
Because E-Right sips it during the workout. Exactly.
What's the point of doing
and
that?
I'm like, dirty. You gotta finish it now.
You should be taking your caffeine in before you go.
I've talked to him about it, and he can do what he wants. He's a grown man. And E-Right's E-Right. Who's gonna step up to him and say that?
I mean, I was drinking a Celsius during the workout last night.
You were, yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of caffeine.
Well, you basically got your caffeine in the first 2 sips anyway.
Right. Yeah, exactly, because that's what he's usually at. Dude, I can't do that because my stomach would feel awful if I drank carbonation during the workout.
Remember when I pulled up a Wednesday ago and I had it?
That was whack.
That was whack.
That was absolutely
that was awful.
Fucking whack. He was drinking a lit GNC gummy worm.
Why? Is that bad?
No, it was just whack that he was drinking it.
Everything about that day was uncanny valley.
Yeah, exactly. We were sitting there and it was just a gross feeling in the gym, and
just only old heads, and I was sipping lit gummy worm.
And everyone, if you looked, and we were trying to bring ourselves up to that level, but we couldn't. And I was going heavy that day, and we look over and the whole gym was just like this.
It was like a back room.
Yeah, awful.
How do you think I feel when I'm there at 5 a.m. by myself? With a
Well,
bunch of old heads.
Okay, some of the old heads bring intensity though.
right. And what I'm saying is sometimes it's more lively in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's energy. Everyone was just trogging and legitimately dead. We bring the intensity on Saturday, so we don't even have to worry about that.
We're filming this one, the first edit tomorrow.
We're gonna try
so
to.
Hopefully that comes out within the next couple weeks or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Depending on how the edit goes.
I mean, I'm in love with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I might not be the best yet, but once I figure everything out, I love doing this. It's so easy. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to edit a video.
I made a ski edit.
It sucks hours of your life down. I will spend an hour.
That's how I feel.
Cutting up 2 clips.
That's how I feel programming.
Yeah,
programming takes me 12 hours on a Sunday.
Yeah, and I'll get 30 seconds of a clip, and it'll have taken me an hour and a half.
Yeah,
but I love every second of it.
Right. That's what I mean. I like
And I feel
troubleshooting
good.
and doing that, but it just takes a long time, and it's tough to explain to people who don't do it. You know what I mean?
But you feel good after. You're not oh, I wish I didn't spend 12 hours programming. You're oh shit,
yeah,
this is what I do.
There's worse things. All right, I think that's a good place to end it. Elliot, do you have anything in closing? I'm back to you, Michael. Michael, do you have anything in closing?
No.
Do you have anything?
For all my college students out there listening, skip class.
Yeah,
Literally skip. What are you gonna learn? You're not gonna learn anything. Skip class. Save your money. Literally, don't go.
pretty succinct.
I have one.
Yeah.
Mark Bell, please sponsor the pod.
Now we're all just reaching out. I know I said it's good to be ambitious, but
I think in closing, the only thing I want to say is we love y'all. Yeah. That being said, that was episode 12 of the Utopiacast. Went through a bunch of cool things there, and we went on a couple fun tangents. Thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We would love your subscription. Otherwise, you can expect either our next pod or our next edit after this video. Good one, guys. How about we all stand facing with our backs towards the camera?